Hi, I'm Lee Merrien, former Olympic marathon runner, and these are my 5 tips to see you through the short Guernsey Marathon. Tip number 1 is to make sure that you've got everything prepared for in advance of the race. You'll have done the training, but make sure you've got your kit, shoes, and make sure you've broken those shoes in, you're not wearing them for the first time, and kit bag all sorted the night before. Tip number 2 is to make sure you include a thorough warm-up before the race itself. Less experienced runners might want to keep this to a minimum, but ultimately something that will raise your body temperature and prepare your working muscles for the race. Avoid static stretching, but make sure you've got something to ready your body for the challenge ahead. Tip number 3 is to consider your race strategy. So in terms of pacing, you'll have an idea of this from your training, but you might want to consider that you've got an uphill start and a downhill section to the west coast in the middle of the race, and that both of those things will affect your pacing. So you might need to ease back a little bit there and factor in conditions on the day too, depending on what you've been training in. So tip number 4 is to make sure your nutrition and hydration strategy is sorted. Make sure that it's not something that you haven't already rehearsed. So gels that your stomach can tolerate and fluid intake that you know will suit you. Ultimately, you want to drink to thirst and not overindulge in fluids during the run so that you lower your salt levels. But bear in mind that if the conditions are warm or a little bit warmer than normal, that you might need to increase your intake slightly. Tip number 5 is to come armed with sources of inspiration. Everyone might have a different reason for running, whether it be to raise money for charity, run a personal best, or perhaps run in someone's memory. But ultimately, there will be tough times during the race that you might need to overcome, and having a few sources of inspiration in the times of need during the run itself will help you see through those difficult moments.